Today, we're breaking down a massive new leak of Apple's upcoming product roadmap. And honestly, looking at these deep dive reports from Bloomberg's Mark Gurman and Notebook Check, we are literally standing on the edge of the most aggressive, feature-packed product cycle in Apple's entire history. It looks like the new CEO, John Ternus, is really stepping up to the plate, and he is bringing an absolute avalanche of hardware with him.
We're talking about 20 new products. Yes, 20. 20 new products rolling out through the rest of 2026 and entirely through 2027. Now, we're not going to list every single minor accessory today, right? We're going to focus on the absolute heavy hitters. A massive AI overhaul anchored by a totally revamped Siri, entirely new form factors, and oh yeah, the highly anticipated first ever foldable iPhone. So, welcome to the next 2 years of Apple.
Here's exactly how we're going to break this all down today. 1. The massive roadmap. 2. The iPhone Ultra era. 3. MacBooks get touchy. 4. Watches, iPads, and AirPods. 5. The smart home revolution. And finally, 6. Hype versus reality. Let's start with part 1, the massive roadmap, mapping out Apple's 2026 to 2027 launch cycle. Just looking at this rollout timeline gives us a really good mental map of when these heavy hitters are finally hitting the shelves. In fall 2026, things kick off with the iPhone 18 Pro and some serious heavy-duty Mac Studio upgrades. Then, crossing into early 2027, things get completely wild with the rumored MacBook Ultra and a dual-camera iPhone Air 2. Finally, to round out fall 2027, we're looking at the 20th anniversary iPhone 20 Pro and those futuristic Apple smart glasses. Plus, all of these devices are backed by the newly revamped Siri AI, which is finally arriving in beta to power this whole new generation of hardware.
Moving on to part 2, the iPhone Ultra era. We're talking foldables, liquid glass, and variable apertures.
There is an absolute explosion of new features coming to the iPhone lineup, and this is where it gets really exciting. The iPhone 18 Pro is getting an A20 Pro chip built on a groundbreaking 2-nanometer process. We're talking rapid-fire upgrades here. A physically smaller dynamic island, variable aperture cameras that'll give you unprecedented depth of field control, and a custom C2 modem that literally allows for 5G web browsing via satellite. No way, right? And if we look even further ahead to 2027, rumors are pointing to a 20th anniversary liquid glass design where the screen seemingly wraps entirely around the edges of the device.
But you know, the real showstopper, the device that literally everyone is talking about right now, is the comparison between the standard slab iPhone 18 Pro and the highly anticipated foldable iPhone Ultra. So the crucial point here is the massive leap from traditional to experimental. The standard Pro model, that remains the classic slab design we're all super familiar with. But the foldable iPhone Ultra is a totally different beast. You're getting a massive 7.7-inch inner screen when it's unfolded and a 5.3-inch outer display. It's reportedly dropping Face ID entirely in favor of a Touch ID power button. But maybe most importantly, it's running a custom build of iOS 27 tailored entirely for iPad-like multitasking. Think side-by-side apps, deep productivity features. It's a hybrid powerhouse.
Okay, part 3. MacBooks get touchy. Touchscreens, OLEDs, and the M6 chip. Apple Silicon is escalating at lightning speed right now. We've got the M4 as the current baseline, and next up is the M5, powering updates to the Mac Mini and the iMac. But here is a truly fascinating twist from the sources. Some community users and analysts are actually speculating that Apple might skip the M5 entirely on certain high-end machines like the Mac Studio. Why? To rush the M6 chip to market. You see, the AI frenzy requires massive computing power, and the M6 generation is supposedly built to handle exactly that. And that M6 chip, it's going to be the brain of a laptop that shatters a very long-standing Apple rule. We're looking at a MacBook Ultra with an OLED display, a built-in touchscreen, a dynamic island right on your laptop screen, a thinner enclosure, all navigated via a brand new touch-friendly interface in macOS 27. I mean, if you've been waiting to upgrade your laptop, this rumored 2027 touchscreen redesign for the MacBook Ultra might be your exact reason to hold off. Apple is finally merging the iPad and MacBook paradigms.
Let's keep the momentum going. Part 4, watches, iPads, and AirPods, health sensors, and AI integration.
We're also seeing some really incredible leaps in the smaller tech. The Apple Watch Ultra 4 is slated to get the S11 chip, new health sensors, and potentially the return of Touch ID. Check out the iPad Mini 8, jumping to an A19 or A20 Pro chip, grabbing an OLED screen, and finally getting water resistance. But honestly, the wildest feature here has to be the AirPods Ultra.
Guys, they are getting actual built-in cameras. The goal here is for Siri AI to have visual intelligence, meaning your voice assistant can actually see what you're looking at while you're just wearing your earbuds. That is literally sci-fi level integration right there. Moving on to part 5, the smart home revolution: screens, hubs, and glasses. Because Apple isn't just staying in your pocket or on your wrist anymore, they're making a highly aggressive push right into your living room. We're talking about a brand new wall-mountable smart home hub featuring a 6 to 7-inch screen and an 18 chip. Then, of course, the long-awaited Apple glasses in 2027, sporting custom frames and oval cameras. We're also seeing the Apple TV get a bump to the A17 Pro chip with Wi-Fi 7 and the HomePod Mini getting the S9 chip with much better sound. Basically, the entire home ecosystem is getting a massive AI overhaul, transforming your house into a fully connected, voice-activated intelligence hub.
Finally, part 6, hype versus reality. What the community actually thinks.
Because, well, the reality of this massive roadmap is kind of a mixed bag among consumers. Sure, some users see a complete ecosystem revolution on the horizon, but others, they kind of see a plateau. They look at devices like the Apple TV, noting that the current new one is nearly 4 years old, and they argue that outside of the foldables and touchscreens, much of this roadmap feels like basic, routine spec bumps just to keep the lights on.
Which naturally leads us to the ultimate question. As inflation rises globally and Apple pushes these ultra models into increasingly higher pricing tiers, are we paying for actual, groundbreaking innovation or just an iterative bump in processor speed?
I absolutely love this satirical comment from a MacRumors user named CD Player. They imagine Tim Cook announcing these products, saying, "Capture the memories of ramen noodle dinners with our new camera, starting at only $19.99. It's a hilarious, grounded reminder of the everyday consumer's perspective. It perfectly highlights the tension between Apple's soaring premium ultra ambitions and the actual everyday reality of consumer pricing. So the main takeaway from this explainer is that Apple is really fracturing its own lineup. While the standard line, your basic iPads, your base Mac minis, might just be iterative, safe, and routine, the new Ultra tier is where Apple's true experimental innovation is hiding. If you want the foldable screens, the touchscreen MacBooks, the liquid glass edge-to-edge displays, and the AI-powered smart glasses, you are going to have to enter the Ultra era. Which leaves us with this final thought. Out of everything we've looked at today, from the massive 7.7-inch foldable iPhone to the camera-equipped AirPods Ultra, which one of these 20 products is actually going to get your hard-earned money? Let that sink in as you look at your own tech setup. Thanks for hanging out and